Okay, thank you everybody for joining us. We're going to get started promptly. Thank you for joining us for our What is a Recall Election webinar hosted by us, the League of Women Voters of Greater Los Angeles, and presented by Mona Field, our president here at the League of Women Voters of Greater Los Angeles. Obviously, a lot of the information that you heard today is going to be about the recall process and its history in California, but specifically, we'll be also addressing the September 14, 2021 California gubernatorial recall election. A couple of housekeeping. I'm going to do the intro. I'm going to intro the mission of the League of Women Voters, our speaker. We're going to go into the presentation. We have disabled the chat to the best of our ability. You can, however, put your questions in the Q&A. We ask that you please refrain from submitting any comments. Comments will not be addressed by the presenter at the end during our Q&A. We'll go ahead and tackle the questions that have not been addressed during the presentation. So I encourage you, ask a question. If it gets answered at some point during the presentation, we will either choose to skip it or we'll make sure to reiterate the point that has been made. Thank you so much, and we'll get started. The League of Women Voters of Greater Los Angeles, for those of you that are joining today that are not members, but are members of our community here in Los Angeles or throughout the state, is an organization that encourages informed and active participation in government. We work to increase understanding around major public policy issues. We look to influence public policy for the greater good, and we do it through education and advocacy. We work on community engagement, and we do this through outreach, such as today, around issues that impact voters and the communities they reside in. We do it through candidate forums, ballot measure speakers, resource guides, voter guides. We host a lot of public issue forums, and we have a great website that's full of toolkits and resources for you all. We connect communities to their government elected officials. We promote transparency in government as a result. We have a 101-year legacy of nonpartisanship. As a result, the presentation that you'll see today is purely to inform and engage and empower voters. It's going to be unbiased, so we won't endorse a candidate at any moment during this presentation, and neither has the League endorsed a candidate opposed or in support of through our 101-year legacy. I welcome you all to visit our website, lwvlosangeles.org. You can become a member, you can become a volunteer. We're as strong as our membership. We have about over 400 members in the city of Los Angeles and greater Los Angeles. So I invite you to volunteer, become a member, see our upcoming events. We have great webinars scheduled for the upcoming year. And obviously you can take a look at our resources and share them with your network. And now I'll present to you our presenter for tonight, Ms. Mona Field. Mona Field is not only president of the League, but she's also a former political science professor at Glendale Community College. She was elected to the LA Community College District to serve as a member of the governing board. In the past, she's facilitated workshops and panels for faculty associations for the California Community Colleges, the Community College League of California, and the California Studies Center, among many that she's also done for the League. She's a member of the board of the Los Angeles Leadership Academy and is on the board of the Foundation for the LA Community College District. She's also the author of the best-selling college textbook, California Government and Politics Today, which I believe the last we checked was in its 15th edition. So I'd like to welcome Mona.
Thank you so much, Mary Lou, and thank you to everyone who's joining us. I deeply appreciate our League members and friends, the High Village community joining us, and everyone who saw this information on KTLA Channel 5 today and joined us for that. because of that. We really are delighted to welcome about 70 people to this presentation. And again, do feel free to post questions in the Q&A, but we will deal with all questions at the end. So first thing, a definition of a recall. I don't need to read it to you, I hope, although I think we have some people phoning in, so I'll try to always sum up what's on each slide. It's simply a method by which the voters can remove a public official from office, and it is a state or local official. Go ahead. A lot of people want to know, is this an American tradition? Is this in our political system? And not at all. In the US Constitution, the word recall does not appear. There's no process to recall any federal official. You can't recall a president, a US senator, a member of Congress. It doesn't exist. It is something that about 20 states actually do have a recall process for their own state and local government officials. Go ahead. So how come California has a recall process? Well, it is over 100 years ago, and it's, to be precise, 1913, a movement called the Progressives came to into influence and a certain amount of power, and they felt, and this is just a little historic fact, that the powerful railroad interests, who were the predominant economic interests at the time in California, were really controlling the political process through their financial resources. And so the idea was to get power back to the voters and out of the hands of special interests. So direct democracy was created through voters, through the ballot, and the voters themselves now have three ways to directly manage their government. One would be the initiative, one would be the referendum, where we repeal an existing law, and of course the recall. So three direct democracy powers exist for California voters. Go ahead. So how often has this been used? Well, for the recall of a sitting governor, there have been 54 qualified attempts, many more that did not qualify. The only time that a recall was successful, and some of us are old enough to remember, 2003, when Governor Gray Davis was recalled and replaced by the top vote getter, which was Arnold Schwarzenegger. There have been local elected officials and occasionally a state legislator recalled. And that would include local, would mean city council, possibly county supervisor, could be a school board member. Those are the kind of local officials that could be recalled under California recall. Go ahead. So how does it work? Well, first of all, it's a signature gathering process, and the signatures must be of registered voters. The number of signatures is based on the number of people who voted in that last statewide election. So in this case, based on the turnout of 2018, we would have, we are required in California 12%, not of the same individuals who voted, but of the total number, have to sign a petition in order to get the recall to the ballot. And in numbers, that is, here in California, that's about 1.5 million that signed valid signatures. I want to remind everyone that to get 1.5 million valid signatures, you usually aim to collect closer to 2 or even 2.5 million, because a number of signatures turn out not to be valid. So go right ahead. Oh yeah, there's the 1.5 million. That means 1.5 million people who wanted to see the recall on the ballot. Go ahead. So people want to know, well, who's doing this? Well, you know, it does depend on who you ask. The California Democratic Party is forcefully advertising that this is Republican recall. The recall supporters state that there are Democrats, Republicans, and no party preference voters who support the recall. Obviously, they got enough signatures. I will say that what we know is about 2/3 of those who signed the recall petition are registered Republicans, and about 1/3 are a combination of Democrats, no party preference voters, and people who are members of the small parties, such as the Green Party or Libertarian Party. So it made it to the ballot. Go ahead. Here we go. There's a lot of interest in the cost of the recall. Now, we have to distinguish two kinds of costs. One is to all of us, every one of us, even if we don't pay state income tax, we pay sales tax. And between the portion of your sales tax that goes to the state and your state taxes, we are paying for this recall, about 276 million tax dollars. And people want to know, what is that for? Well, if you think about it, every one of the 58 counties must print not only ballots, but sample ballots. They must mail everything. In some counties, the return ballot, the postage is taken care of by our tax dollars. Here in LA County, we do not have to put a stamp if we mail our ballot back. And there's personnel costs. There are vote centers, which we'll talk about in a minute, that have to be staffed. So it's a pretty good chunk of money. That's that part of it. Now, there's other money involved, which are those who choose to donate to either the Yes on Recall or No on Recall campaigns. And those of you who are watching can see the Yes on Recall, collectively, it's about 5.5 million, and the No on Recall is about 55, almost $56 million. That last sentence isn't as clear as it should be. The item above does include money spent by interest groups and individuals. I think we forgot to take out that last sentence. Now, people want to know, how can I learn more? The League of Women Voters of California has a very valuable website, completely nonpartisan, with information so you can make your own decisions, votersedge.org. And what happens is you go to the website, they ask for your address where you're registered to vote. They will create a ballot for you. And on that website, what we do from the League is we ask every candidate on the ballot to share with us their profile, their biography, their contact info. And for this recall, about 3/4 of the 46 candidates who would like to be governor have given us some information. So if you want to learn more about many of the candidates, votersedge.org is an excellent place to get objective information. You can also look at some of the state websites if you'd like to see details about who's spending the campaign money, either to support the recall or oppose it. That's available through several state websites, and we can put those in, or we can share them later. And we offer our Voters Edge in Spanish. I wish, and someday perhaps it will be in many other languages. For now, at least, we make that available in English and Spanish. Okay. So what's going to be on the ballot? I suspect many of you have already looked at that ballot, and you see there are two questions. One is, shall Governor Newsom be recalled or removed from the office of governor? And it's a simple yes or no. And the second is the candidates to succeed the governor, if the recall prevails, and there are 46, you can only vote for one. There is a write-in option. I would suggest that a write-in is unlikely to win if the recall prevails, but you certainly could write in a name on that second question. Let's go forward. So just to be absolutely clear, if a majority, that's 50% plus one of the votes that are cast, say yes, recall the governor, then he shall be removed. He will leave the office, and the replacement candidate who gets the highest number of votes shall be declared elected. And notice, for the remainder of the governor's term, which is, by the way, a little over a year. Just to be clear, the governor's term ends in December of 2022. So if the recall wins and there is a replacement, the replacement will serve for a little over a year, and that there will be an official regular gubernatorial election with a primary June of 2022 and a general election November of 2022. So it is very possible, nobody's predicting, but it could be that if there is a successful recall, then whoever gets the most votes from the list of 46 will become governor for a year, possibly longer and possibly not. And of course, if the majority vote no, then the governor stays in office, and whoever happens to be the top vote getter from that list, they do not become governor. And of course, at the bottom here, you can see that, again, the 4-year term is pretty much, he's near the end of it in any case. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, a lot of people want to know, can I pick one question or the other? Yes, you may vote on one question or both. And presumably, if you are voting on neither, which of course the league hopes everyone will vote, then you would not return your ballot. But if you're going to vote on question one, you do not have to vote on question two, or vice versa. And the point is that we want to be sure people understand either answer is a legitimate ballot, or both answers, whatever is your personal preference. And of course, I bet everybody who's with us this evening knows that you probably have gotten your ballot. And I do want to remind folks, it was the pandemic that created the current process in which every eligible voter in the state receives a mail ballot. I don't know if that'll be permanent, but for the moment, that is our rule in California. And of course, everyone knows that was to ensure safe voting for those who did not want to go to any group setting, a vote center, so they could get it at home and fill it out and mail it. We also have drop boxes throughout the county. And for those who, for some reason, want to vote before the vote centers open, you may go to Norwalk and vote there starting now. And our other vote centers, which will be spread throughout the county, many of them will open September 4th and the rest on September 11th. And of course, the last day to vote is September 14th. Those of you who are mailing a ballot or going to a drop box, of course, anytime you want, that's all available. Okay, let's continue. Okay, now, if you want to know where to go vote in person, the website is lavote.net, and you will put in your address, and of course, it'll give you choices in your area. And the hours are quite extensive. There'll be 11, some of them open for 11 full days from 10 a.m. to 7. And then on election day, 7 a.m. to 8, the traditional hours for a polling place. Of course, you have your mail options. And again, we've mentioned those. I would say if you look on the right, those of you can see that voting machine for anybody who's going to vote in person. We are, of course, using the machines that were introduced in LA County in March of 2020. It's a very high-tech electronic machine. And some of us who vote by mail have actually never used them, but that's the new system in LA County. Let's go. Now, this is a reminder that since November 2020, if you have moved or changed your name or wish to change your political affiliation, your party registration, you should re-register hopefully 15 days prior to election. Now, that would be your online registration primarily. You can do it in person at a vote center, and you actually could register up